Okay, I got the spindle reinstalled. I went ahead and picked up some new fasteners for that. I managed to find a M8 by 30, which is what John Deere has for their fastener. But I got this at the local big box store. They happen to have them with a flange nut too. So I'm going to go ahead and get these installed, and I think I'll just snug them up good and tight. I could look up the torque spec. I'm going to guess it's 35 to 50 pounds maybe for these. I don't know exactly, but I might look that up, put standard torque on them, and then I guess it's ready to get the pulley on the other side. And then I got a new blade for it too, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Okay, I did go ahead and get a new blade for it. And this has a mulch kit on it, so I had to find a mulching blade. This is what the mulching blade looks like. It's got a little extra feature here with a longer cutting edge on it. And it doesn't look like it has a lot of lift on it. But I guess maybe that's the way they are. And I realize now the blade I took off was not a mulching blade. I think it was a high lift. It doesn't look anything like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and slap it on here. So I got the blade on, finger tight for now. And remember, this had some run out to it. It had some waviness as I was spinning it. So when I put the blade on, what I noticed was as I spin it, the blade is uneven, which makes sense. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to hope that the blade isn't perfectly flat and that I can clock the spindle relative to the blade and try to flatten it out, and hopefully that'll be balanced. I think that's as good as I can get it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this ruler down here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to attempt that. Okay, so I got this steel rule set up on a magnet, and the blade is at, I think it's lowest point right here. So relative to the edge, we got around 10 millimeters between the edge of the blade and the edge of the deck. Turn the blade 180, and you see we're nowhere close to that. That looks more like 15. So if I split the difference, I need to take about 2.5 mil out so that each side would be around 2.5 mil. So what I'm going to do is loosen the nut and try to clock this spindle so that the blade is as even as I can get it. Okay, I got about a quarter turn out of that thing. Let's see where we're at. 14-ish. Oh, it hits. Nope, not quite. I got a little bit out of it. I think I might have got a millimeter or two. You know what? It's better than it was. We were close to 5 mil off. Now I think we're 2 or 3 mil. It looks quite a bit better. I'm going to give it a little more. Okay, after a few iterations, I got it pretty good. I don't think I'm going to mess with it anymore. I think I'm within a millimeter. This barely touches here, then we come by to the other side of the blade, and it's, gosh, got, oh man, maybe half a mil of clearance. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and ugga-dug this thing down with the impact wrench and call that good. Okay, so final measurements. I'll check it down here at the 6 o'clock position. We got about 12-ish. Rotate the blade. About 12-ish again. I think that looks pretty good. And I'll check it up here. Check it up here in this end as well. That just clears. I got a measurement of about 10 there on that end. And about 10 there as well. Maybe there might be a millimeter or less difference between the two ends of the blade, but I'm going to call it good. I'm not going to mess with this anymore. Next up is to give this thing a bath. On the outside, clean it up a little. I think I'll touch it up with some paint. And I've got new gauge wheels for it as well. By the way, I did torque these. I torqued this to 52 pounds. And then I torqued these little guys to 25, 30 or so, which is a little high for them. I used a 5/16 torque versus an M8. I mean, they're pretty close to the same size. I think it's safe. And listen to that. Can't hear anything. Recall that when I started this endeavor, you could hear that thing spinning in there. So my take is, I think maybe one of the bearings was going bad, but the other one was still good. And it was bad enough that I could hear it. Probably would have been okay for a little while, just noisy. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, here's where I'm at with this thing. Went ahead and gave it a bath, scrubbed it down pretty good. It looks real nice now. I've taped off the decals because I'm going to touch up the paint in a couple spots. I do use the John Deere paint, by the way. I think this is the best stuff to use. It lays really well, and when it dries, it looks pretty darn good. It's pretty hard too, but it does take quite a few coats. Oh, and I did get the pulley on, by the way. I just cleaned up that interface, the inside of the bore of the pulley, and tapped it on with a dead blow hammer, and it went right on. No torque spec really for this nut. You just run it down with an impact until it stops, and then it should be good. It's a pretty warm, breezy day here today, so I don't think I'm going to record painting it. I'll just send an update when it's done. All right, got the gauge wheels off that deck. I've already cleaned up one of them. Gonna go ahead and clean this up. I got new wheels. I don't know if I really needed to, but $8 a piece, I figured it was worth it. Put something new and shiny on there that's not all wobbly. Oh, there's no washer on the back of that. I thought there'd be a washer on there. Oh, there it is. It's all seized on there. It's all corroded and nasty. I'm going to clean that up. I think I'll clean this up with our good friend Brake Parts Cleaner. And then I'm going to coat this with graphite. And that's what I did on the other one. Okay, that's dried on there. Looks pretty good. And I got a new wheel to go on there too. They were only $8, $8.50 from Deere's. I didn't think that was too bad. To make it roll a little nicer and maybe look better on the tractor. Ooh, smooth. Okay, here's the deck all touched up with paint. I just touched up the rough spots. I didn't get into a lot of detail. I just wanted to make the really bad parts look a little better, so that hopefully now with it being touched up and fresh wheels on it, whoever buys this and mows with it can have some pride of ownership by having something that looks pretty sharp. Hopefully. So I think this deck for now is done. Next task would be to get it installed on the tractor and get the belt on. I don't know if it's worth it to get I got to get the pulleys back on there. I took those off to paint it, and I think I might have to lay the belt on here. So maybe I'll shoot some video of that so you can see how that goes on. And I'm going to do it without instructions. I'm going to just kind of eyeball it and try to determine which way it routes by looking at the pulleys and everything. Okay, so I got the pulleys back on, and I think I've sorted out how to install the belt. So when you throw the lever on the tractor, it moves the tensioner in this direction, so the belt has to run through here and around there. And then as the tensioner gets closer to this pulley, it puts tension on the belt. That's how the blades turn. By default, you want the spring to take the tensioner away from this pulley so that the blades don't run accidentally. So I went ahead and got a brand new belt. This is a John Deere belt. What is it? M112006. I'm pretty sure that's the correct belt. So I'm pretty sure it runs through here like this. So this tensioner is flat on one side, and the flat side always goes against the back side of the belt. And then the V grooves, of course, go against the V side of the belt. So I'll see if I can squiggle this thing on here. Also note there's guides here. So the belt usually, well, pretty much always goes between the pulley and the guide. So that's another clue. Ooh. Pull the tensioner back to install the belt. There's a little break or something right here on the underside of this bracket. There it goes. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's right there. So that stops the blades. Okay, so I think that looks right. Belt runs from the main pulley on the engine and around here and around here. I guess I don't know what, it's going to go this direction. So it runs through here over this idler, behind the tensioner, around the pulley that runs the blade, and then back to the engine. And then when you throw the lever on the tractor, now we got a bunch of tension, and the blade should run. Hopefully that sorts it out. I couldn't imagine trying to put this on with the deck on the tractor.